This weekend, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul doubled down on his attacks on former President Bill Clinton, calling Clinton a sexual predator for his admitted affair when he was in office. In an interview with C-SPAN Sunday, Paul criticized Democrats for championing women's rights while supporting Bill Clinton. Take a listen to this.
Anybody who wants to take money from Bill Clinton or have a fundraiser has a lot of explaining to do. In fact, I think they should give the money back. If they want to take a position on women's rights, by all means do, but you can't do it and take it from a guy who is using his position of authority to take advantage of young women in the workplace.
Not surprisingly, a lot of people talking about this. So let's talk about it. Let's bring in CNN political commentator and Democratic strategist Paul Begala, along with CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Anna Navarro. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Kate.
So, Anna, first to you. This isn't once, twice. This is a few times that Rand Paul has doubled down or tripled down on his criticism of the former president. Do you see this as political strategy, or is this personal?
You know, I can't imagine it being personal because, frankly, he doesn't have that kind of personal history with the Clintons. I think it began as an accident. His wife was asked about this issue in an interview, and when Rand Paul was asked about his wife's comments, he supported his wife, and then it has mushroomed from there. He has continued the subject. I think he's doing it because it's good politics. It would be good politics in the primary, and frankly, Kate, because we are talking about it. And every time we talk about Rand Paul, it's good for Rand Paul. This is a guy who's a new senator, a junior senator, and he's getting all sorts of attention, particularly from the Republican base, on this issue and some of the others he has taken on.
Is it the right kind of attention? I guess you would argue from the base, yes. But Paul, jump into this. You say that this is smart short-term tactic, but bad long-term. Why?
Well, right. I agree wholeheartedly with Anna. She knows her party far better than I do. And it's a good tactic, but not a good strategy. Here's the difference, right? Tactic will get him in the game. It's like when Donald Trump, remember, was birther, talking about the president's birth certificate.
Right.
That got him some support in the extreme faction of the base of the Republican Party. When Mike Huckabee talks about women's libidos, you know, that helps him actually in some of the extremist parts. As a long-term strategy, though, these things don't work because you have to win the moderate middle if you ever actually want to be president. So good tactic short term for Mr. Paul, but if he thinks beating up on Bill Clinton is going to make him president of the United States, he's got another thing coming.
Anna, I mean, is this fair game, though, to be dredging this up? Maybe dredging is the bad connotation. Is it fair game to be bringing up the history of a spouse for someone who you could theoretically say you could be running against?
Kate, there is no such thing as fair in war or politics, and politics is war. So I think, you know, I mean, it's a shot across the bow, and I think it sends the very strong message to the Clintons that, look, you may be the Clintons, you may have been president, you may have been first lady, you may have been secretary of state, all that's fine and dandy, but if you decide to be a presidential candidate, no holds bar, absolutely everything's going to be on the table. And that's how it's going to be. That is what modern day politics is like in America in 2014. Everything will be scrutinized, absolutely everything in their record. Is it fair? Look, everything's going to be fair. And it's going to be part of what gets looked at. I do think it can have a backlash, though, because it's cringe-inducing. You know, do we want to go through this all over again? It was, you know, what he's saying is true. Bill Clinton had a lapse of judgment. Bill Clinton did something that was very, very, very wrong. It's true, but the problem is it's also old.
That's what I was also wondering. Is there an element to, if your big fight kind of line of attack is something that is so in the past, does that mean you don't have anything to fight about in the present?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Anna, go ahead.
They got plenty to fight about in the present. I think that when he brings up Benghazi, it's a very valid point. She was in charge. The buck stopped with her. It was her State Department. It was her responsibility. It was, you know, the failure of her State Department. That is a very valid point. I think it's painful for women to see the actions of their husband being brought up as something that they need to be responsible for. I'm not sure that works all that well with women.